guys, welcome back to another video. So today I am going to be installing the new Injector Loom. As you would have seen in the last video, I tried to do the repair on the loom and it didn't work. Pretty much every clip broke in the end. So even if it had worked, I'd have had to have bought a new one. This is what the loom looks like, pretty straightforward. The only issue I think I may run into is removing the old one and putting the new one in, because as I'll show you in a minute, and I think I showed you in the last video, the space is very limited. This time I do have a brand new gasket, which was kindly supplied to me by someone on the forums, a chap called Stephen Lindsay. It's very kind of him. So I'll get that on as well. So at least I know the job's done, I haven't got to go back in there. Fingers crossed this actually solves the problem. So I've got my tripod today, so I'll try and do a few time lapses, just to try and cover things a bit more in depth, because you know it's all well and good me doing it and moving on and doing it and moving on, but if someone actually wants to do this and isn't too sure, like I wasn't, it's probably better that I do a bit more of an in-depth video so you can actually follow it step by step, and go from there really. Well guys, so as I sort of covered last time, when you're doing this, if I remember rightly, there were 13 bolts all around the top, or 10mm, so you'll need to remove all of them. Hopefully you can see something decent here. You want to remove the belt cover, because that will be in your way when it comes to actually taking the valve cover off. You may need a screwdriver just to pop those screws out, or pop the clips out, sorry. So remove that one, get that one out of your way. Then you want to go around, undo all of these. Obviously you will need to remove this clamp so you can pull the breather hose off. Now, as you can see, it's got to come out of here. There's not a great deal of room here. So first and foremost, what you're going to need to do is remove all of this pipe work, just so it's out of your way. You've got a little bit more room there, and you haven't got to sort of try and wrestle with it. From what I've been told, old one, when it comes out, does tend to crack, so it's worth putting a cloth in there just to catch anything that does snap off. The new one, again, from what I've been told, is a bit more pliable and should go in with not too much hassle, to be honest. So I'm going to start off by removing this pipe, just so it's out of my way, and I'm not risking getting anything inside the engine. Right, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there is quite a bit of oil in there. Now, like I said previously, I know there is always going to be some oil, but I mean that's quite a bit. Let me know what you think, guys. Turbo on its way out. Again, as I've mentioned previously, the car's not losing tremendous amounts of power that I've noticed. It's not using lots of oil that I've noticed, but you know, telltale signs. It is on 161,000 miles after all. So now that's out of the way, obviously it's not a massive amount of room, but you've got just that little bit more room just to get in here. You want to remove your connector, which is just at the back, just twist it and it will work its way off. So that's now out of the way. You want to make sure any lines that are in the way, just try your best to get them sort of wedged out of the way. You've got 2 bolts on the back here, which we'll get to in a minute. Next I'm going to start off by removing these. I said all 10mm. I'm going to guess that these are 10mm as well. Yes. So most of this is 10mm. Just so you know. That should be all we need to remove before taking this out. So I'm going to start by taking this out. Like I said, 13 10mm bolts, and that'll be out. Right then, guys. So I've got to this stage. As you can see, all the connectors have been unplugged. I've unbolted that and started pulling that out. Now, as you can see, as what I was saying, there's not a great amount of room here to actually get this all out of, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Now, the new one's fairly bendy, but obviously this has been through quite a few heat cycles, so I'd imagine the plastic's probably quite brittle. It's definitely been changed before, which for the mileage doesn't surprise me, given that these are supposedly very common for going. You know, like I said last time, it's not surprising really, given that it is pretty much sat directly in oil. Get a bit of light on it for you so you can actually see what I'm on about. And you can see the oil actually in the plugs, so not ideal. So I'm gonna get a rag and try and get as much of that out of the actual connector as I can. Now hopefully this is going to be the fix, and hopefully I can get that out without it snapping. Let's see how we get on. Right guys, so forgot to press record, that's my bad, but I've got the old one out. Now, as I said, the easiest way of getting this one out was to pretty much pair of pliers, remove these clips before you start pulling it out, because obviously they do not come out, they will catch, and they're quite hard to actually manipulate through the hose. So pull them off. They come off from the bottom side, so just be careful you don't drop it into your engine bay, or into your engine, sorry. And then the actual loom itself, what I did was put some rag underneath the loom itself, pulled it out as far as it would go, snapped it, and then pulled the rest out. Pretty much the easiest way of doing it that I can see. All the crappy bits fell down in there. In fact, there's a bit there that you can probably see, maybe not. So I will have to sort of try and get rid of all of that. But obviously the next part of the job is trying to clean out all the injector, all the terminals, just so we've got a good contact, and get the new loom in, which I'm hoping is going to go in easier than the last one come out. So fingers crossed, we'll see how we get on. Right guys, I just wanted to add a little side note. When you put the loom in, you need to make sure that this part here of the plug bit is facing up. It's a different shape on the bottom, so you will be able to figure it out. If it's not the right way up, it won't screw in, basically. The screws don't line up, so you need to make sure you get it the right way. It's not a complete diamond shape, it's offset, and that bottom bit there is flat, so it sort of sits flush. Right guys, so as you can see, I have now put everything back together. I've got one clamp left to do up here, engine cover to go back on, but that can wait until we've done start up and checked that it's actually fixed the starting problem. Either way it needed doing, because like I said, I had a code the other day which said that cylinder 1 injector loom had a electrical fault, which is generally caused by the loom. So that's that done. Just finishing tidying up. There was a little bit of oil there, a bit of plastic that came off of the old loom, tools all away, and then as soon as I can get out of the garage, I will come back to you and we'll see if the car is now playing ball. I may do a diagnostics first just to see if there are any codes stored in the system. Just want to rule out everything. And I also want to do a live reading for the injection rate and all that sort of stuff. So, fingers crossed, all goes well, and I will be back shortly. Right then guys, so as you've probably seen in the last clip, doesn't seem to have made any difference as far as starting goes. Seems to be idling a bit smoother and there's a bit more throttle response, which, you know, obviously the injector ones now, well, should be getting fuel. I'm just in the middle of doing a diagnostics. I'm going to do a full health report. Once I've done that, I'll go through and do the readings on the actual injectors themselves, just to see if they've all got a good reading. But you know, at least on the plus side, I've now ruled out that this is an issue. It doesn't really help too much because it does now mean that there is another problem that's causing it not to start, and you know, I'm none the wiser. So as far as diagnosing issues goes, I'm slowly running out of ideas. The next step, I think, is going to have to be the cam angle, and go from there, really. You know, like my diagnostics just picked up one engine photo, which I can tell you now will be engine mount, so we'll see. I'll see what comes up and then I will come back to you. Alright then, so I've done the diagnostics. It does take a while on these vehicles for some reason. Now, as I said, engine management light or engine control module fault code I knew was going to be the engine mounting valve open circuit. Pretty much everyone has that. The engine mount itself is actually fine. Aircon I know about anyway. Central control module I know about. Now these two here, if anyone can give me any sort of guidance on the rear doors. Now both doors lock, both doors unlock. Now the door warning light, none work on the driver's side, so that's something I need to look at. And I know about the radio one, so I'm going to clear all of them, and then I'm going to read the actual injector values. Alright, if anyone can help me with this. Now, obviously, my ignition timing says it's at 39.37. Now, speaking to someone the other day said that you're meant to do it when the engine's warm, which it's not cold, but it's not just been running. The other question is, do I have to read this whilst it's running? Because videos I've seen online, I'm pretty sure the engine's off and it's at 0000 or 0005. Now, if I start the car, obviously it's still nowhere near where it should be. So if anyone can give me a bit more insight into that, so I can decide whether that does need adjusting or not, because I'd rather do it myself. I've watched enough videos to know how to do it, but obviously I want to make sure that what I'm seeing there is correct. Alright, so I'm on the injector readings. Now, I'm not 100% sure what these readings are meant to be. I'd imagine they're all meant to be plus numbers. Now obviously you can see that I'm guessing this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Cylinders 1 and 4 are both in the minus. Now I don't know if that's correct or not. I wouldn't have assumed it was. Again, that could be a result of the cam angle being off. So, you know, obviously as the car's warming up, number 4 is kind of starting to sort itself out. Number 1, the numbers are obviously going back up towards a plus as well. and now number 3 has dropped back. So I don't know. I mean, the car is only idling. Give it some gas, or give it some throttle. It does seem to be just injector 1, which, again, you know, that was the one that came up with the fault code the other day. It said that it was an electrical fault, and that the loom wasn't, basically it wasn't getting an electrical signal. Now obviously I've changed the loom, so that should be eradicated completely. Given that it is gradually working its way up, I think I might wait until I've got home later, take it for a good drive, and just see if it's something that will clear itself. As most of you will know, and I've said it previously, VAG vehicles are very picky about what information they will show on a diagnostics tool that isn't VAGCOM, basically. So I think what I'm going to do is not focus too much on that, because that number is starting to level out now, and see sort of how it is when I get home. I mean, if I come back out of this, well, if I go back, obviously it's only at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so what's that? I don't know what that is in Celsius, but that's pretty much up to temperature now, so it's definitely not a battery problem. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know what all these values mean. Absolute pressure, yeah, it's not how duty cycle's not too high. Bear with me, I'm just trying to get back to the timing to see what it's sitting at now. Alright, so obviously I've just shown you what the engine temperature is at the moment, and the timing is now reading 1.86. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's still out, and I'm gonna say that is the issue. The car is booked in with a VAG specialist on the 22nd. I mean, I think they wanted £52 just to do a diagnostics, which realistically, does that leave me any better off? The only benefit is really that it is a VAGCOM diagnostics, and they will be able to give me any bit of information that I need to go forward with fixing the car and getting the starting problem sorted. I will say, since I've put the loom in, the idle is a lot smoother, so I have fixed a problem. So guys, yeah, so a bit of a failure today. Didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, but it needed doing anyway, so you know, it's done. Happy days. One more thing to tick off the list. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully someone can take something away from this and actually figure out how to do this on their own car now. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Until next time, cheers.
I gave you my heart.